right.
Run. All kinds of stuff.
All right, thank you so much. We're back. We'll start with the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meetings videotape for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Saturday, October 14, 2017 at 12 noon, and Sunday, October 15, 2017 at 4 p.m. on Channel 14. Excuse me. Webcast is at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. Right now is the opportunity for members of the public to discuss matters of interest within the district's jurisdiction, whether or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
We do have a speaker this evening, Mr. Roger Mitchell.
Good evening, Mr. Mitchell.
Board Chair, Directors, Chief Harm, men and women of Metro Fire. My name is Roger Mitchell, longtime resident of this district. I come tonight to stand just to tell the board members that have bought tickets for our fundraiser and those of you that have made donations to that, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're sold out, so it should be a good evening. A special thanks goes out to our nationally known speaker that will be there that evening, Chief Harms. We appreciate that very, very much. I will be responsible to this board and administration that after this event is over to give you a financial report and to let you know how those funds will be used. On another note, knowing the catastrophe that is going forth in the fires in our Northern California, as a suggestion only to this kind board, I know that on the way over tonight, I heard on the news that we had lost upwards of 25 civilians so far, over 5,000 homes, and I know we have many men and women from Metro Fire on the fire line over there. Maybe we could close the meeting tonight with a moment of silence and prayer for all those involved. Just a thought, but If you have any questions about our fundraiser or what we're doing at Old 111, I'm prepared to answer those now.
Any questions for Mr. Mitchell? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
your suggestion is well taken. We were just talking about that up here as well. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent calendar before we call for a motion. Do I have any questions? Director Roselli?
Just one comment with regard to item 6, the surplus equipment firearms. I want to express my appreciation to John Barsdale. I have been a major nuisance to him for the last week on this issue, and I apologize for that. However, California has I think we can use the word complex set of firearms regulations, and they relate in particular to public agencies and the dispensation, acquisition, and survey of their firearms. My concern is that we're sure that Metro Fire is in full compliance with those regulations. And so in the discussion, I appreciate the fact that John has said that he would be willing to work with me on developing policy, because right now our policy is thin with regard to compliance. And so in my discussions with DOJ, which were fascinating, we will eventually figure out what those folks were trying to tell me and come forward with a policy. So, John, again, I apologize for being a nuisance. Really appreciate your help. I just think it's important that Metro Fire is fully aware and compliant with those regulations. So, with that, thank you.
Director Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 4, I'm prepared to support it this evening, but I look forward to next year's robust conversation about renewing that contract and all the different parties that will be involved potentially. I think this particular contract has been in place for several years, and it may be time for us to look at all of our options when it comes to who provides us that swing support in our transport. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director. Any other comments or questions on the consent? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the consent agenda.
I've got a motion
Second.
and a second. Thank you very much. Would you call for the vote, please?
Director Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We're moving on to presentation items. Controller Emperdad.
Good evening, directors, chiefs. My name is Ron Empedrad. I'm the controller for the district, and I'm here today to introduce Ms. Sarah Rausch, who is the liaison for the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA for short. She also serves as the vice chairperson of Professional Standards Committee for the California Society of Municipal Finance Officers, CSMFO for short. She works both as a member of the GFOA and the CSMFO to promote professional and reporting standards not only in the state of California but throughout the nation. And she is here today to present the district with a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting for our annual report that we submitted to them for fiscal year 2015 and 16. Sarah?
Good evening. I am honored to be here today on behalf of the Government Finance Officers Association to present the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. Today's presentation marks the third consecutive year that Sacramento Metro Fire has received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. That's a mouthful. Yeah. The Government Finance Officers Association and California State Municipal Finance Officers Association work closely together to promote excellence in financial management through innovation, continuing education, and the professional development of our members through the state and the nation. We value honesty and integrity and adhere to the highest standards of ethical conduct. Our CSMFO members are deeply involved in the key issues facing cities, counties, and special districts in the state of California. The GFOA Certificate of Achievement program has been in operation since 1946. The purpose of the program is to encourage and assist governments to prepare financial reports of the highest quality for the benefits of the citizens and other parties with a vital interest in government finance. Since then, it has gained widespread recognition as the premier indicator of excellence in governmental accounting and financial reporting. To earn the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, your finance team had to comply with the program's demanding criteria, which go well beyond the minimum requirements of generally accepted accounting principles. The receipt of this award reflects the professionalism and commitment of Amanda Thomas and Ronald and Pedrad and their exceptional team, whose dedication to transparency and accountability in governmental finance led your agency to this award not once, but 3 times. I want to emphasize what a truly amazing accomplishment that is. Accounting standards and best practices are constantly changing. New Governmental Accounting Standards Board requirements lead to changes in your annual reporting. This team has managed to adapt to each new change each year and continue to create an award-winning document. This is no easy feat. I reviewed your webpage and looked over your award-winning document prior to this presentation. The document is beautifully written and represents your agency very well. It is clear that a lot of hard work went into its creation. I want to commend the Board of Directors and Fire Chief Harms for your valuable leadership and your support of finance. We know that without the support of leadership, it is much more difficult to succeed. Let's close by repeating the core values of your organization: professionalism, service before self, teamwork, and integrity. It is evident that these values represent all members of your agency. With that said, it is my privilege to present the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District this Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Congratulations.
I just wanted to point out that although the finance division took the lead in preparing the report, it's actually a group effort with all the divisions of Metro Fire. Without their help, we couldn't come up with the CAFR. I'll leave the CAFR award here for you guys to see. If you want, I'll just leave it in.
Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you, directors.
Thank you. Excellent. Moving on to our action items. We'll start with action item number 1, Deputy Chief Bridge. Thank you.
Good evening, President Wood and directors. Chief Harms, I'm Eric Bridge, Deputy Chief Operations. We're at that time again where our ongoing need for structural turnouts is upon us. So that's what tonight's action item is. We put a RFP together. It was an extensive process that's lasted about the last year and a half, where our PPE committee, which is a group of firefighters and along with their safety division, they're recommended that the district continue with Honeywell Morning Pride Tails as our turnout manufacturer. At this point, we're at the end of that 10-year period, and we're going to need to purchase quite a bit of turnouts. So we're basically coming to you tonight to recommend that the Board of Directors authorize staff to enter into a 3-year contract with MES for purchasing structural turnouts with the option for a 4th and 5th year.
Do we have any questions or comments for Deputy Chief Bridge? No?
Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation. We adopt staff's recommendation and thank that committee for the fine and hard work that they've done for that.
Will do.
Thank you very much. I have a motion. I've got a second with Director Sheets. Can we get the vote, please?
Director Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 2, lead negotiator for the RFP award, Deputy Chief Casantini.
Good evening, Board President, Board of Directors, Fire Chief Harms.
On May 11, 2017, the Board of Directors adopted a resolution to retain a qualified individual or firm to represent the district in contract negotiations, which we anticipate starting in January of 2018. So at the direction of the Board, the Human Resource Division and the Purchasing Division conducted an RFP. On June 28th, staff issued that RFP seeking qualified individuals, and 2 different firms applied for that. That would be Liebert, Cassidy, Whitmore, and Myers-Nave. A review committee comprised of the board president, fire chief, deputy chief administration, chief financial officer, and the human resource manager reviewed and evaluated the proposals. The evaluation criteria demonstrated experience, understanding the district's goals, qualifications of staff, familiarity and locality to the district, reputation and cost. Everything was reviewed. The committee has selected Liebert, Cassidy, and Whitmore, specifically Jack Hughes, as the lead negotiator. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors adopt or approve the selection of Jack Hughes, who is very qualified. He has extensive experience with lead negotiating as far as employment law practice, fire districts, police districts, very experienced. The fire chief and I interviewed Jack, and he seems to really understand the needs of the district and will represent the Board of Directors in a very fine fashion. So we recommend that Jack Hughes be approved as the district's lead negotiator tonight, and I'll accept any questions.
Any questions for Deputy Chief Casantini?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Where is that firm located? Physical location of it?
Right, sir. So they have probably a half a dozen offices through California.
In Sacramento.
Yes, sir. It's downtown Sacramento. It's near the Capitol.
What is the address? You have the address?
No, sir, I don't have the address.
Okay. Could you get it from me, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I know. I do believe they're on Capitol Mall, about a block from the Capitol.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Deputy Chief Casantini?
Okay.
Take a motion on the staff's recommendation?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Can we get the vote, please?
Director Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving on now to action item number 3. This is the LAFCO election. Ms. Bonilla, this is yours.
Good evening, President Wood and directors. Before you this evening, you have the opportunity to select one candidate for Special District Commissioner, Office Number 7, and one candidate for the alternate Special District Commissioner that covers Office Number 6 and 7. So LAFCO has sent us the nomination paperwork that would allow us to do that. The candidates were included in the board packet. I trust that you've all reviewed each of the candidates that are eligible this evening. One of the candidates is our very own Director Jones, and then there were several other candidates for the alternate seat. I want to remind everyone that this term begins in 2018, and it's a 4-year term that will serve through 2021. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you have this evening. And I'd also like to turn it over to Director Jones in case you wanted to add anything.
Director.
I'm not sure there's any questions, but I would greatly appreciate the continued support of this board in representing special districts on our Sacramento County LAFCO. We have several ongoing items, including Special District Advisory Committee, working with CSDA as our conversational partners on all the different issues, i.e. bills and legislation that comes up. Some we support, some we don't, at the state level. And continuing on the state level, continued participation with the California Association of Local Agency Formation Commissions, which is the state association for LAFCOs. I've been very, very involved with all 3 of these, and I'd like to continue working with that. In addition, I would like to support Paul Green as the alternate. He is the incumbent, and it's sometimes hard to do, but Paul has successfully participated in LAFCO with the LAFCO hat on, meaning that you come in and you follow the policies of Cortese Knox and look for logical growth formation within your county. He's a very thoughtful and a very good listener for all these issues that have come before us. So I would like to give my support to Paul Green as the alternate for Special District Commissioner.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a nomination of Ms. Gay Jones as ballot A Commissioner for office number 7, and follow that up with a motion to also support in ballot B, alternate commission for office 6 and 7, Mr. Paul Green, Jr.
Ms. Clerk, do we have to do those separately? Ballot A and ballot B?
We could do them together, and then if for some reason it doesn't pass, we could always take them separately.
All right, he's made the motion as one, so, and I've got a second down here from Director Clark, so let's do the vote.
Director Gale.
I have a question, Mr. President.
Questions have closed.
Close?
Yeah, we're on the vote.
Okay, I pass.
And Director Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Ms. Bonilla, for the presentation, and congratulations, Director Jones. I know you'll continue to do well.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate everyone's support.
Moving on now to reports. President's report. I have nothing to report. Fire Chief's report. Chief Harms.
Good evening, directors. A few things going on in the past few weeks over in accounting to make sure that we continue to receive awards. We've hired a new accounting technician, Nativa Dad Munaal is her name, and is started on the 2nd. We've had a couple promotions in the SRP program with some paramedics. It was David Kotz and Christopher Pike have gone from EMTs to paramedics and have gone through that process and are successful now. We're doing a recruitment right now. We have an expected vacancy at the end of the year for a fire investigator. So we're doing both an internal and external recruitment for a fire investigator. And we have been asked by it's called the UASI region, the Urban Area Security Initiative, if we would be interested in, they will fund the position, but putting a position over there to coordinate training for the region. And a lot of that looks at an IMT or different positions and the ability to coordinate at the state, the federal, and at the local level. And we've put out an if anybody's interested in filling that position, and again, it is funding is available for it for up to 2 years. So it's a great opportunity for one of our captains to be able to go over and work in a position really as a regional representative for us. We had a number of meetings. It seems like we do a lot of meetings, but we had an opportunity. Chief Rodriguez is new in Folsom, and so myself and the executive staff went up last week and sat with him and his executive staff and just worked on relationships and working together and where we're at today and where we want to be moving forward. Myself, along with a few of the directors this week, had a 2x2 meeting with Rancho Cordova, and we talked about some community service events, EMS, some reports, and quite a bit on fire prevention. And I am very happy to report that fire prevention has been able to staff a position 2 days a week in Rancho Cordova, and 3 days a week we have a plans intake person at both of those places, and Citrus Heights, and it has worked out very well, and they're very happy with that. Met and had a meeting, myself and Captain Vestal, with the county regional, with the director and the chief ranger, and really a good meeting, and just to sit and meet with each other and build that relationship with the parks and with the chief ranger. Just one last thing is I was appointed to NFPA 1710 as a seat on there. Chief Bridge is going to be my alternate on that, and we'll keep that within the district. And then he'll be representing us in New Orleans in November, as there's a meeting with NFPA down there that he'll be attending. And the last thing is just to mark your calendar, on November 11th is the Dean Baker Crab Feed, 5 p.m. I think this is where I came in last year and crab season was starting, and it's a full year back to crab season again. So any questions?
Any questions for the chief?
I'd like to take just a second, and Chris, do you want to come up, or Captain Vestal come up and give a little update on a little bit of the activity that has been going on?
Good day, Captain.
Good afternoon, Director Wood, directors, and Chief Harms. I'm going to do a quick video, and this will just kind of summarize some of the things that my group in community relations has been working on. Obviously, it's a busy time of year for us, starting with the pink and blue engine this year, and we've kind of nicknamed it with the hashtag All Cancers, All People, and have asked people when they see it, if they take a picture with it, to post on their social medias using that so that at the end of the year we can put all these together. But this video is going to start with the process of how it gets wrapped, which was actually kind of surprising to me. So this is a little bit of a time lapse of it. And while it's going, I'm going to talk about some of the things that we've done. The first thing we did was a event. Actually, all of the events that we're doing are teamed up with I'll Be Aware, and they're a breast cancer treatment group. They'll pay for testing and other types of treatment for persons diagnosed with breast cancer. We're also teamed with the Movember organization, and Kevin Summers is back here in the light blue shirt. And what was really cool this year, as with last, we went down to the Kings game, but we even tied in Sacramento Fire at the Kings game this year, and had their engine there, so we were both there at the same time. This is a video of the engine in front of the arena. And what's not going to be on this engine, but you might see it on a lot of our other first out apparatus, is a decal from Underwriters Laboratories Firefighter Safety Research Institute. And along with Fire Prevention Week from the National Fire Protection Association, we've adopted both messages. So the UL says close before you doze, and the NFPA says every second counts, plan 2 ways out. Now, unfortunately, there's some devastating fires nearby, so we can't get any coverage on Fire Prevention Week. But we're probably going to redo that in about 2 weeks and try and get some media coverage for that. But this is a PSA that a self-made PSI that we made locally in the district will show up here in just a second. And do we have volume?
Ooh, that's going to be loud.
Much better. Okay.
It's going to be loud.
Survivor, and they thought it was the best weekend of their lives. It really made us all feel pretty good. And that was an event we did with the Kings, surprising some breast cancer survivors with free tickets to last Monday night's game.
These are some of the photos Metro Fire Captain Brian Gonzalez took during an aid mission to Puerto Rico.
It was overwhelming at times to see such damage and destruction.
Gonzalez was part of a 27-member team from Northern California sent to help with search and rescue and visit cities with no power struggling to get supplies. His most emotional memory was meeting a town doctor who couldn't get his patients medicine they needed in their small mountain community.
And he was almost in tears trying to describe to me the conditions that they were in and his concern for his patients.
Gonzalez's team was one of 28 sent from across the country to offer assistance, and he says he's proud of the work they did despite criticism of the federal response to Puerto Rico.
We were very focused on the mission and trying to get information back to our leaders so that they could make the decisions that we need to, so we tried not to get into the political stuff too much.
Saturday, the team made it home, and Gonzalez was able to surprise his 7-year-old daughter, Callie, who was relieved to see her dad home safe and sound.
Hi, baby. Being able to come home and have her excited for me to be home was pretty awesome. Do you like that your stuffed animals went to help somebody?
In addition to his FEMA mission, he also had one from Callie to give some of her stuffed animals to children in Puerto Rico who lost everything. A mission Gonzalez delivered on.
Little Disney characters to give to kids that I thought were, could use it to help brighten up their day. It made us really want to try and do as much good as we could.
What a great guy, and what a beautiful little girl. She was so cute.
I think mission definitely accomplished there. Steve was saying it best. These are some of the most unsung heroes we have here in the country right
That's
now.
absolutely right, and I want to thank them for all their efforts that they're doing down there. Absolutely.
So what you might have noticed was that wasn't one of our local news stations there. Fox 40 and KCRA locally both ran that story, and it got played as far away as Baltimore, Texas, Louisiana, Iowa, Chico, Idaho. Chico's not that far, but I think it hit about 12 different markets, which was pretty cool to have that exposure. And look tomorrow on Fox 40. One of our members decided to do just a real organic collection of items for all the fire victims. And so Fox 40 is going to, actually all the media will show up tomorrow morning at Station 29 to watch all that stuff being loaded, but Fox 40 is going to actually ride with them all the way into Sonoma where it gets delivered. So hopefully that will be finished by the 5 or 6 o'clock segments. Thank you.
Any questions for Captain Vestal? Comments?
I have one comment, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was something in that video that struck me. One, my daughter's around that age. But when we talk about our fire personnel, and I've said this many times, that go out and help during these disasters, and there's families that have to hold down the fort while they do it, but to see his daughter's eyes light up. And I hope people understand the sacrifices people make by going to other regions, helping out people that need it. But first class. I mean, that's absolutely, we don't like to capture that because we're humble people and you're humble servants, but the reality is, what Metro Fire did on a global scale, first class. Thank you.
Thank you.
And while Director Barnes was speaking, the entire city of Chico called in and said thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Director. Thank you, Captain.
You are not going to be the mayor.
Moving on, Deputy Chief Bridge, Operations Report.
All right, now I'm going to try to bring back the queued up video footage here. Captain Vestal, where do you have that left? He's coming. Where he's at. I think that was yours. I don't want to play it again for all the folks in Chico. Right there.
In case they missed it.
In case they missed it, there we go.
For the third time.
It's ready just to hit the tap on. Okay, we'll go ahead and play that. So we'll get that up on the screen here. Just going to show you some footage of, here we go. So some of the action of our members up in Citrus Heights area, Engine 28 on a house fire that happened back on the 5th. Whoops, on the volume. You got that? Thank you, Madam Clerk. This one happened on the 6th of October, and I'd like to say we got a really good fireground pace here, but we actually sped up that camera a little bit. But we do move fast, just for the record. It's just
That's really small steps, too.
yeah. Moving on, talking about our support around the nation, but also locally here we are. These are some of these photos are taken from up at the wind complex out of Nevada County. This one here was in Santa Rosa, where our members put in about a 16,000-foot hose lay. And then this one happened last week as well in the Arden Arcade area off of Bell, where Engine 101 arrived for a detached garage type of fire. And the secret on this one is this was the Pink Engine's first structure fire of the year. So I got a little footage of it. This is taken from a helmet cam. So this is why you might be getting a little bit dizzy. But wow. And now he's probably getting the mask on. He's dragging that helmet with him. There you go. So you could see lots of heavy fire coming out of that, out of those windows there, and he's ready to go back to work. I think we're just about the end of it. So you can see it's been a busy week and busy couple of weeks since we last talked, and it just seems to be like, unfortunately, a lot of tragedy between hurricanes and wildland fires where they're losing lots of homes. In the Northern California, Southern California has lost a lot of homes. So we have approximately trying to remember a total count. We have about 11 of our overhead personnel that are out on the fires right now. 9 of our engine companies, 5 of them are in Santa Rosa, and the rest of them are up right here locally off Highway 20 up at the wind complex. At one point, there was about 18 structure fires that began about 100 hours on Monday when the winds were kicking up at 40 to 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. When you accompany that with low fuel moisture and low humidities at 1 in the morning, that's what you end up getting, that type of devastation. A lot of speculation as to the cause right now, but they're throwing things out about power lines and different things. So the winds do have a tendency to knock that stuff over, and it could very well be a cause. But they're still in the investigation. They're still just trying to get people out right now and keep people safe. But a lot going on in terms of the investigation on those, and they won't know for some time. But so that's kind of where our guys and gals are at right now. Again, 5 of our engine companies in Santa Rosa, with the other remaining up at the wind complex. And our overhead personnel are split between the two. When I was saying earlier, those 18 fires that started that Monday morning is now reduced down, but it's because they've all burned together. So what they do is they end up calling that a complex. So what was once multiple fires is now one incident called, for example, the wind complex. So that's what you hear if you hear any of that on the news. Moving on to other types of tragedies. I know there's been a lot of question out there. Where does Metro Fire stand when it comes to being prepared to handle mass casualty type of incident where they happen in Las Vegas? And fortunately, I know Captain Daly's been, Sean Daly from Engine 103, I think he's over at Engine 23 now, but he started working this closely about 3 or 4 years ago with the Sheriff's Department. And Director Barnes, you're probably familiar with it as well. We have a great relationship with the Sheriff's Department, and in the event of a shooting, a mass shooting of some active shooter type of incident, I just wanted to make sure everyone understands Metro Fire is trained in that. They have been ongoing training for the last 3.5 years. And we are prepared and in position to handle that and move in once communications are set and command is in control and we're ready to go. We will make that movement. So we use our risk assessment process about risk a lot to save a lot. So when there's a lot to be saved, we'll be there. And I know the Sheriff's Department's there with us. So we call that our rescue task force. So thanks to Captain Sean Daly, and there's many others that I don't want to leave out, but I just can't remember all the names of those people helping. So what else do I have for you? EMS, too. The EMS was a huge part, been a huge part for so many things. We did a little after-action report this afternoon on the tragedy that took place at the Ramada back on August the 30th. So EMS was a huge factor in that. So my hat's off to Chief Wagaman for conducting that after-action report. We had a lot of good dialogue on that. So things are moving in the right direction for future. You don't plan for those kind of things sometimes, but we try our best to be prepared for something like that. EMS, though, continuing with that, we did run about 2,500 calls and transporting consistently right at 70% mark. And AMR is with 300 calls and transporting 65.5% of the time. So those numbers stay consistent since the last 2 weeks, and that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you very much, Chief. Do we have any comments or questions for Deputy Chief Bridge? Thank you so much. Moving on, Local 522. Good day.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Woods, Chief Harms, and staff. I don't have a lot tonight, but I will report out on our election results. We had elections today for the next term for President, Vice President, and Secretary Treasurer. I'm proud to announce that Ty Bailey is going to be the next president, Local 522. The next Vice President, Metro Unit, will be Trevor Jameson. Pat Cook will remain as Secretary Treasurer, and Five from the city will be the community source person for the local. The only election that we're going to have this year will be, or this term will be, for VPO City, and that will be James Butler and Chris Andrew. And that's all I have for tonight.
Interesting. Any comments or questions for Captain Barstow? Thank you so much. Committee and delegate reports. The executive committee has no report. Moving on to the Comm Center JPA, Deputy Chief Bridge.
Yeah, Chief Johnson's asked me to report out at their last JPA Comm Center board meeting. Executive Director Teresa Murray announced her retirement date, which will be coming up in January, so January the 12th. So currently, JPA board is working on the next steps moving ahead for selection process for moving down the road. So other than that, she's done a great job in there for the last several years of bringing that level of professionalism up at the communication center. Has done a great job. So she's got a well-deserved retirement coming upon us, and we have some more opportunities ahead of us. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Deputy Chief Bridge? Thank you so much. The California Fire and Rescue Training JPA, Director Kelly is absent, but you can see here that the next meeting will be January 18th at our facility here on Armstrong. Finance and Audit Committee, Director Sheets.
We are going to meet here on Thursday, October 26th. Time to be determined.
Thank you very much. Policy Committee, Director Gould.
Tickets are still available for the Thursday, November 9th Policy Committee.
Moving on now, board member questions and comments. I'll start all the way to the left with Director Clark.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to offer our thoughts for all the victims of the blazes that we have going on throughout the state. I've been particularly affected by some of my members who over in Santa Rosa. A lot of them have lost their homes, and you know it's unfortunate, but we will help them recover. Also, I'd like to thank the Color Guard for Local 522, in particular Gabby Alvarado, Ty Bailey, and John Barsdale for setting it up, and they helped us out at the Salute to Labor dinner. It was well done and well appreciated. Finally, I'd like to congratulate our finance department for such a fine award. It seems like we're spoiled. You know, we get those very often. You know, it's. I think this is like in the last few years the third award or something like that, and it's just a testament to the fine people that we have working for this district. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Sheets.
I want to echo his statements, thoughts and prayers to not only the victims in Santa Rosa, but also the victims and families that are still recovering from the shootings in Vegas. Also wanted to congratulate the Finance and Audit Committee and all of the hard work that went into getting that award, and Captain Vestal for the presentation. It's great to see that we're getting more footage and coverage out there, so that hopefully recruitment is going to also inspire those people to join this organization. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Director. Moving to the right, Director Gale.
I did get a chance to, for Paul Green, that I would really vote for Paul. And I've known him for many years, and as a matter of fact, we're fraternity brother. He's an Alpha also. I've been quite longer than him, but he's a person of integrity. We differ sometime on politics, but he's a great person. And Joy is also who has been there with LEFCO for some time. It's a difficult job. Sometimes you see if nothing is being accomplished, but she's there. She's in the ball game, and for the great job that the district does, especially in these trying times, all over the country, whatever. We're in the ball game, and it's important that we have that personal integrity that we have here.
Thank you very much, Director.
Of course.
Director Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to echo my colleagues' comments relative to our Finance Division and all those that support them so that they can produce such a fine report. And I think at the end of the day, for us directors, one of the parts of our oath is to ensure that the fiscal viability of this organization stays intact. And it's a lot of the work that all of the division heads and the Finance Division do that really puts us at ease as we see these kinds of outside entities reflect on those documents and say what an excellent job they're doing as they compare against other agencies in the region. So that's a nice thing. And then also I'd like us to just remember today the true meaning behind the colored engine. I mean, when we really think about it, it's that kind of additional devastation that we all need to be sensitive to and the families that are affected by cancer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Director. Director Rosali?
Just one comment. I wanted to express my appreciation for the video of the teams that went out on those rescue missions and how much it helps make real the contribution that Metro Fire makes. Those folks do an incredible job under unbelievably difficult circumstances, and I really appreciate the opportunity to actually see some of that work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director Jones?
Yes, congratulations to not just the Finance Department, but all the divisional support in the CAFIR Award that was presented to Metro tonight. I very much appreciate that. I also appreciate the support for the LAFCO Special District seat. Thank you all very much. The bigger picture here, it's like more than one tsunami coming over between fires and hurricanes, shootings, etc. And that can seem overwhelming at times. It is overwhelming. But I'm very proud of Metro and this board and the chief and senior leadership down to the rookiest person that we have. Because for dealing with all of this that comes at us, we continue to take step-by-step preparations, whether it's regional training, whether it's buying turnouts, deploying strike teams, overhead personnel. This is what we can do. This is what we are good at, and we will continue to do this. I want to assure our community, our region, and our state that we will continue to be there, especially under the direction of the senior staff, Metro Fire, and the commitment that each and every person here has towards making the worst situation a little better, step by step. That's what we're here for.
Thank you very much, Director. Director Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To echo Director Jones, it's nice and absolutely flattering to sit up here, listen to all the great work that goes on with the accolades that come with it, and then understand that no matter where they are in the state and or in the country, they call for help. Metro Fire says yes. All right. Very rarely have I heard to say we couldn't do it. And again, that goes to the first-class organization and the response and the idea that they know that they can lean on us as other agencies need us. So well done for that. Echo all the other comments that the directors have said about what has gone on in the nation. Lighter side, I got to say, last Saturday we had the Guns N' Hoses baseball game, and I am sad to report that the law side won in that game. But I will tell you this: that it was.
You played?
It was no. It was rigged. We had the umpires. No, but I will tell you that it was. It's been 8 years since the law side won, but it was a great turnout at Sac State. They were a wonderful host to open their doors for us with open arms to hold our event at a low cost, so we can raise money. Monies from that will go to the Byrne Institute and the Sac PD 1849 Foundation. But it's great as we gear up for the nonprofit, as Chief talked about, the crab feeds and the Pig Bowl football game in January. As we build up for that, the give back that these agencies and the members of this agency do on their own time. They come out, it seems like a game, but you got to practice, you got to prepare. Again, that's more time away from the family, but they do that to raise money to give back to the community. So well done by everybody involved.
Thank you very much, Director. And I cannot say anything with any more eloquence than's already been said. So with that, we'll move into closed session. And I hope nobody is here when we get back. Thank you.